The ocean was quiet, too quiet. Morgan sat alone on the deck of the Calypso Blue II, staring at the endless expanse of water beneath her. It had been 6 months since the first expedition, 6 months since they detonated the charges, 6 months since Grant disappeared into the abyss. The world thought the mission was a failure. Official reports said tectonic activity caused the collapse. Equipment malfunction. Nothing unusual. Nothing dangerous, but Morgan knew better. She heard it in her dreams. A low pulsing sound, like a heartbeat echoing across miles of water. Sometimes it whispered her name. Sometimes it spoke in languages she couldn't understand, and lately, it wasn't just in her dreams, it started small. Sonar buoys near the collapse zone began transmitting odd patterns. Rhythmic pulses, too precise to be random. The Navy dismissed it as interference. But then satellites started detecting the same signals, repeating in low frequencies, bouncing between oceans. Someone, or something, was talking. And the messages weren't just noise. They were coordinates. Morgan tried to stay away from the sea, but she couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Grant's face. Glowing eyes, calm smile, whispering that it wasn't over. That the fissure wasn't a prison at all, but a door, and doors once opened rarely stayed closed. Now she was back against her better judgment. The Navy had commissioned a new expedition, bigger and more heavily armed. Military submarines, drones, explosives. This time they were determined to erase whatever was down there. Morgan wasn't sure if that was bravery or suicide. As the ship's engines hummed and the crew bustled around her, she felt the ocean watching. The waves lapped softly against the hull, but beneath the surface, something moved. It was waiting, and it wasn't alone. The new submersible was nothing like the old one. Sleek, armed with rail charges and drone swarms, it looked less like a research vessel and more like a war machine. The Navy wasn't here to study. They were here to bury. Morgan sat strapped into her seat as the vessel descended, floodlights cutting through the black water. The walls creaked as the pressure built and the ocean swallowed them whole. No one spoke. The silence was heavier than the water above them. At 8,000 meters, the glow appeared, faint at first, a pulse of blue-green light flickering through the cracks of the seafloor. It looked like the earth itself was alive, veins glowing faintly in the darkness. The fissure, or rather, what was left of it. The charges had collapsed the opening, but not enough. The crack had grown wider, spreading like fractures in glass. Worse, new ones had appeared, as though the seabed itself was breaking apart. The sonar pinged. A shape moved. Massive. Contact, the sonar tech whispered. Everyone turned to the monitors. For a moment, nothing. Just static, then movement. A figure walking along the seabed, slow, deliberate. Its outline was unmistakable. Humanoid, but too tall, too fluid. Its skin shimmered faintly, reflecting the same alien glow that pulsed through the fissures. Morgan's stomach dropped. It was Grant. The crew erupted into shouts, questions, panic. Morgan leaned closer to the glass, her heart pounding. "Grant," she whispered. As if he heard her, the figure stopped. Slowly, it turned toward the submersible. The floodlights revealed his face, or what was left of it. His skin was pale, almost translucent, glowing faintly from beneath. His eyes burned with blue fire, and yet, his smile was the same calm, unsettling smile she remembered. He raised a hand. The sub's systems flickered. Lights dimmed. Consoles went black. Alarms wailed as the vessel shook violently. Then, through the static of the comms, his voice came. "Why did you come back?" The crew froze. Some covered their ears as whispers crawled into their minds. Words not spoken aloud, but carved directly into thought. Morgan fought the pull, her hands trembling. "What happened to you?" she asked. Grant tilted his head as if amused. "I was chosen. It showed me what we are, what we were always meant to be." The fissure behind him pulsed brighter like a heartbeat. Something massive stirred inside, its shadow stretching beyond imagination. "You can't stop it," he whispered. "The prison is breaking. And when it does..." The rest of his words dissolved into static as the sub's lights went out completely. In the pitch-black abyss, something moved. Not Grant, bigger, vast. The pressure gauges screamed as if the ocean itself was about to crush them. Then the lights flickered, back on, and dozens of glowing eyes stared at them from the fissure. The eyes blinked in unison. Dozens, no, hundreds. The fissure was no longer just a crack. It was a doorway. A shudder ran through the submersible as the first creature stepped into view. Its body was tall and skeletal, its skin translucent like glass stretched over light. Veins of blue fire pulsed inside it, illuminating the abyss, and behind it more shapes pressed forward, each one larger than the last. "Open fire!" the captain barked. Rail cannons roared. Explosive charges streaked through the water, slamming into the glowing figures. For a heartbeat, it seemed to work. The creatures staggered, light flickering. Then, impossibly, their wounds closed. Shards of glowing flesh knit back together as if time itself reversed. They stepped closer. The crew's confidence broke instantly. Morgan clutched her harness as the sub rocked violently. The alien things moved with a fluid grace, circling like sharks. But it wasn't just their presence, it was their voices. They didn't speak in words, but the crew felt them. Whispers in their skulls, memories that weren't theirs. Images of worlds burned to ash, a warning, a promise. The prison had been designed to hold them forever. But now humanity had cracked the lock. Then Grant moved. He walked calmly across the seabed, unbothered by the chaos. He placed his hand on the fissure wall. The glow intensified, veins of light spreading outward like fire through oil. "No," Morgan shouted, slamming her fists against the glass. "Grant, stop." His voice flooded the cumps again, cold and inhuman. "You don't understand. This world was never yours. It was theirs. You were only ever tenants, waiting for the landlords to return." The fissure groaned. The seabed cracked. From within, something massive stirred. Not a creature, something bigger. A structure. Towers of alien stone pushing upward. Like a city buried for millennia, now clawing its way free. The captain issued the last command anyone wanted to hear. "Detonate the charges. Now." Explosives lined the trench, placed by the Navy in secret after the first incident.
"A final failsafe, do it!"
The ocean lit up. A chain of fire ripped through the abyss, collapsing rocks shattering the fissure. The shockwave sent the submersible tumbling like a toy. Alarms screamed as metal groaned under the pressure. For a moment it worked. The fissure collapsed. The glowing creatures screamed, not with sound but in the minds of everyone present. A wave of anguish so sharp it felt like their skulls would split open. The monitors went dark. Silence returned. Then, a crack small at first. A glowing line of light running up the rock wall, it spread. Another fissure. Then another. Dozens of glowing fractures, spiderwebbed across the seabed. Morgan realized the truth. In a flash of terror, the prison wasn't beneath the ocean. The ocean was the prison, and now it was breaking everywhere. The silence didn't last. From every direction, the ocean floor cracked like glass under a hammer. Glowing fissures spread across the seabed for miles, vomiting streams of alien light into the abyss. The monitors inside the sub are filled with impossible shapes, massive shadows shifting within the deep, too large for the cameras to fully capture. One of the crew whispered, trembling, "That's not a city. It's a world, a whole world buried beneath us." And then it rose. The ocean heaved upward as something colossal broke free. A structure unlike anything human eyes had ever seen. Black spires taller than skyscrapers, wrapped in glowing veins of alien fire. Entire towers ascended, displacing miles of water in an instant. Tsunamis raced outward, slamming into coastlines with apocalyptic force. Cities along the Pacific Rim vanished in walls of water. The world above had no idea what was happening, but it was already too late. From the spires, the prisoners emerged. Not hundreds, not thousands, billions. Creatures of living light and shadow poured into the ocean like an army returning home. Morgan's voice broke as she stared at the monitor. "We didn't find a prison. We found the door to it, and we opened it." On the surface, warships scrambled. Fighters screamed overhead. Missiles streaked into the ocean, detonating in brilliant flashes. It didn't matter. The alien beings absorbed the blasts like raindrops. Energy bent around them, consumed into their glowing bodies. Weapons designed to level cities were nothing more than sparks in the dark. The prisoners kept rising. Inside the sub, Captain Grant stood perfectly still, his eyes glowing faintly. His voice echoed, layered with something alien. "They thought they could keep us here forever, but forever has ended." He turned, smiling faintly at Morgan. "You weren't our jailers. You were our wardens in waiting. You kept the world warm for our return." Morgan lunged for him, but the sub rocked violently, throwing her to the floor. Through the cracked viewport, she saw it. One of the beings, massive and serpentine, wrapping around the submersible like a predator inspecting its prey. Its many eyes glowed as it stared directly at her. In her mind, a single phrase burned: "Your world is ours again." Above, the alien spires broke the surface. Jagged black towers erupted from the sea, piercing the sky like knives. Storms formed instantly, swirling around them, lightning arcing between their tips. Across the globe, every screen flickered on. Phones, TVs, billboards, all broadcasting the same message in 100 languages. Your history was a lie. Your world is reclaimed. You are no longer free. Morgan pressed her forehead against the cold steel wall of the sub, fighting the rising tide of despair. The fissures weren't stopping. The ocean wasn't their boundary. The earth itself was their cage. And now, that cage is gone. The final image burned into humanity's memory. Glowing alien towers rising from every ocean, piercing clouds, reshaping the world. The prison beneath the ocean was never meant to last forever, and the ones imprisoned there were finally free. If this story gives you chills, imagine what's still waiting to be uncovered in the depths of our own world. Do you think humanity could survive something like this? Tell me in the comments.